What's up, guys? It's been a while since I've used this channel or even did anything remotely Yu-Gi-Oh! Tube, and I decided today I'm going to be going live and showing you guys my Dinomorphia deck profile for this current format, and explain what cards you could also use instead. Some I got on hand, some I do not. Changes you could make if you don't have certain other cards. And if you guys have any type of questions during the stream, or even after the stream, you guys can just always comment questions about certain things. I might even answer them in the video. If not, just feel free to ask them. But first, we're going to start with the extra deck. I've topped several regionals and locals and everything with this deck, so I have great success with it. I love it. So let's get into it. First, the obvious: you want your main dude. You want to try and see it is 3 Therizia. Self-explanatory. Next, you have 2 Diplos, and then a card you can tech in. You can even add a third copy if you want, but I've had success with 2, and that's 2 Wannabe. During the for those of you that may not know what Wannabe does, as during the end of the turn, when you can send her from your hand to the grave, hand or field to the grave, and then reveal the top cards of your deck for every unoccupied spell and trap card zone your opponent has, and then you may pick a trap amongst it. Those cards, set it to your field and put the rest on bottom. So it's basically like a prosperity, except it sets rather than adds, so it can't be ashed. Also, send that card to the graveyard during the next end phase. So let's say you set a continuous trap, you activate it at the end of your opponent's turn. It goes away, and it happens during the end phase. Now that's it for monsters. Now for spells, you get 3 Pot of Duality, kind of self-explanatory. You got the 1 Prosperity, more consistency, and a card I decided to put in. It's been working really, really, really well during testing. Tongue-tied myself. It's been working really well with testing, and this card works really well with Wannabe because they're both during that end phase. So you could decide what to resolve first, and that is Card of Demise. Card of Demise is a 3 free draw. If you have like no cards in your hand, you could draw 3. It's really good, and you can stack this with Wannabe just for extra consistency because they both say during the end phase. All right. Next we have for big trap lineup. So for traps we have 3 Frenzy and 3 Domain, pretty standard. Next you have 2 Alert. I used to play 1. I bumped it up to 2, especially for grind games. It's good. Sometimes it's actually really good to open it, especially when your opponent has super polys or board breakers, and this gets rid of your X turn. You can just bring it back. It's really, really great. I'm still running 1 Brute. You can run 2. I see some people running 2. But I don't necessarily always like to. But it's not something you shouldn't do. You can definitely do that. I'm running the Zark package. You don't have to run the Zark package. So I'm running 3 of the Soul of the Supreme King. If you don't want to run Soul of the Supreme King, you can start bumping up the Brutes. You can run Dark Bribes. You can run Imperms. If you have the money for it and you're not on a budget, you could do Dominus Impulse. You can run Mind Drains for hand traps. You might run Soul Drains. There's a plethora of other cards. You can even run Torrential Tributes and etc. You can bump Wannabe up to 3 and run other cards. Like there's just a lot of cards you can run. Next we run 3 Ferret Flame. Some people run 2, people run 3. I personally like 3 because opening it's not necessarily a bad thing. Running up Opening up multiples and cards to half your life points is great for board wiping. Some people run two of this next card, some people run one. I personally like two of Trap Trick just to have extra copies and then, of everything just in case you need it. This is a card I keep going between 3 and 2 on. Right now I'm just stuck at the third, and that's 3 intact. I think going forward I'm going to stick to 3 just in case. This card I've been going between keeping it in and out, and this, if I did take it out, it'd be going to the second brute, and that's Sonic. Sonic has did a lot for me. Other times it doesn't do anything. So it's just one of those cards I'm on the fence about. Depending on how the format moves forward, I may keep it in. I may switch it out for another brute just to have an extra interruption. Next for the other counter traps, we got 3 Solemn Strike, 3 Iron Thunder, and 3 Solemn Judgment. And that's all pretty self-explanatory. This is a 42 card deck, and that's it for the main deck. Next we have the extra. So, we have the 3 Rexterm, the 3 Therizia, and the 3 Stealthbergia. Now, I also run the one Logia. If you want Logia, in this format, a Logia could be a Dolka. I do have Dolka. I'm just testing out Logia because it negates summons and like board breakers, but I might switch it out for a Dolka. It really depends on how this format ends up. Also, if you want SP Little Knight in the Zark package, you could take out one Kinstragina. But I haven't really cared for the SP Little Knight, so I've kept that in there. Next for the Zark package, we have Zark himself, Arcray, Brave Eyes. This is more for the Ubel matchup. If you do not run the Zark package, I definitely suggest for the Ubel matchup siding Power Filter because it stops him from summoning. You got the one Crystal Clear, and this is why I also have less room. Is this is a 2-card package? You run Odd Eyes, Rebellion Exceeds, and this card is actually really good for OTKs. Is Odd Eyes, Rebellion, Dragon, Overlord. So you overlay him over Exceeds, and he's a 3,000 beat stick that gets 3 attacks. So it's 9,000 damage just in this card all by itself. And that's it for the extra deck. Now the sideboard, there's a lot of different choices you can make in here, but I'll explain my reasonings behind mine. First is 2 Power Filter and Skill Drain. There we go. All right, 2 Power Filter and Skill Drain. These are just basically like additional skill drains. Yes, these are really good to sit on depending on your matchup, and if your opponent clears your Rex term, they'll have to deal with these cards too, or they might try and deal with these cards first, and then they have to deal with your Rex term. So it's just really good to have these as backup. We have one Rivalry. Rivalry is pretty good against the Raziel matchup because they have 2 different types in their deck. So it's also up good against like some random various decks. So it's just really good to have. It doesn't hurt you because you can just keep on the Dino line rather than going in anything else. We have one anti-spell. Anti-spell is still pretty good, and it feels really good to get into it. We have a lot of consistency cards in here. Wannabe, Card of Demise, etc. to get to it. Because we have the 2 Trap Trick, we're only running 2 D-Barrier. And D-Barrier is only in there for the Raziel matchup. We have plenty of other cards to deal with Raziel, but this is just for the Raziel matchup because if they can't exceed summon, they just die. And like Tempai's, I know is Tempai's practically dead. It's not completely dead. It can still do stuff. So I mean, I guess if you find that random Tempai player, it hurts them. So but we don't really have problems with Tempai anyway. Next, we run the 3 evenly, because what I've noticed with the Malice deck and the Raziel deck is they don't have destruction negation or board wipe negation. They just negate monsters, so evenly is going to be really good this format. Then we got one Lightning Storm and one Harpy's Feather Duster. And then this card's still decent this format. It's not against Malice, that's why I'm citing it. But it's good against random matchups, and that's the 3 Untouched Dimension Shifter. And that's my sideboard. Some random cards I have in here, and got more coming that you can use. Ring Dragon Raw Sphere Mode or Lava Golem. You can have Nibiru's. Deck Lockdown is really, really good. You can run that. The one random called by the grave here. SP Little Knight or Dolka, like I mentioned before. You can add another D barrier if you really want to. Epidemic Virus, good against Pearly and the Labyrinth matchup. You can add another trap trick if you want to do that. If you want, you could do the Zark pack, the Zark hand rip, in which you would need trap tracks and like the trap trick, trap. Not trap trick. Trick Star trap card. But I don't do that, and I don't have that card. But that's trap track. You can have Cosmics. Again, the Mind Drains, the Torrential Tributes. This guy, if they link against a link deck, you get free cards. You can always add the second Brute, which I mentioned earlier. If you don't want Card of Demise, you could do Fossil Dig. You could always do Heavenly Prison. You can also add the second Lightning Storm if you really want to. You can always, again, the third copy wannabe. If you don't want the Zark package, you could always go the Super Poly away, and I don't have any Super Poly targets right now. I got rid of them a while back, and I'm going to get them back, so don't worry. But Super Poly package. And like all those cards I mentioned earlier, all really, really good. Another thing you could do is add Pancreatops, because he is a dinosaur, for the means of going second. But as it stands with what I have, this and waiting on, this is how I'm going to run the deck. If I changed anything, depending on how this format shapes up, the only thing I might change is Shifter going out for deck lockdown or power filter. But we'll see how Shifter does this format when I go to my next regional. But outside of that, I don't think there's anything else that needs any explanation. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll get more deck profiles out to you guys or regional reports and stuff when I can. I am out.